Screens. Nowadays, everywhere we turn, we see a screen. The script for this video was written on one, much of my research was done on one, and you're watching this video on one. Screens have become one of the most prominent mediums of telling tales ever, making their invention a revolutionary part of the history of fiction and non-fiction alike. But where did it all begin? How far have we come? What might the future be? And what does this mean for storytelling as we know it? The television is a seemingly magical and mysterious device, but today the mystery is uncovered. So get some popcorn and roll the film. Lights, camera, action. As always, I should introduce myself. I'm Logan, owner of Fantastical, a YouTube channel made to enlighten, entertain, and educate its audience on all things storytelling. This video, as I said earlier, is about the television, also called the TV, also called the Idiot Box. Yeah, so while I was researching, I found this fun fact: the TV used to be called the Idiot Box. Anyways, in this video, we'll be talking about the TV's creation and evolution. I'll talk about the history of shows and movies, and end off with some speculation on the future of entertainment and what it can mean for storytellers everywhere. So let's not waste any more time and begin. Technology has come a long way, and the TV is no exception. However, there were actually two types of televisions, the mechanical and the electronic. The idea of the mechanical TV, which came first, was conceived by German scientist Paul Nipkow. He created the Nipkow disc, which I will describe in a moment. However, he wasn't the one to build the mechanical TV. The man credited with that achievement was a Scottish inventor named John Baird, using the Nipkow disc, which was just a disc with holes in it. However, these holes were placed in a downward spiral so that each one had a different position. So, as the light went through the holes and hit the thing being filmed, it would be turned into energy, which would again be transformed into electrical energy. This would then be transmitted to a receiver with a turning wheel and lamp. Wherever the camera picked up bright light, the lamp on the receiver would shine brighter. The light would usually go through some kind of lens where the viewer could watch. However, the television was still an experiment. It wasn't commercialized until 1929 when the Baird televisor, the first television available to civilians, was released. But this television is much different from what you and I are used to. According to Business Insider, using reflected light to create a low-resolution image, the TV had a screen about the size of a postage stamp. It's amazing how far we've come, isn't it? But I digress. Televisions at this point were rare and more of a luxury item. The invention still had a long way to go. Later came the electronic television, which used diluted light produced by beams of electrons, but it was still very different from the TVs of today. However, electronic television slowly became more and more advanced until finally, TV and radio were combined and people had access to both video and sound at the same time. Then, at long last, television took off in the 1940s, again from Business Insider. Due to price drops, Americans were buying 100,000 TVs a week in 1949. Over time, TV got more revisions, such as remote controls, better audio and video, larger screens, and finally color. The first color model being the CT100, selling at $1,000 US, which would be almost $10,000 in today's money. But as you can see, the television is slowly beginning to look more and more familiar. And, of course, as time went on, they got bigger, better, and more detailed until, in 1997, Sony partnered with Sharp to make a commercially available flat-screen TV. The flat screen works by filtering light through liquid crystals. This light is separated into thousands of individual pixels, each with a mixture of red, green, and blue, which create millions of colors. These pixels come together to display images, which, when strung together, make animations or videos. After the flat-screen TV, you, no doubt, know the rest. The next step, of course, is where we are now, the smart TV, which can run apps and even games without the help of a separate machine. Today, televisions are changing the world. Granted, sometimes for the worse, but not always. I won't go into any other types of screens here, nor will I be covering DVDs, VHSs, etc. So that would conclude the history of the mechanical genius of the TV. Except, it doesn't. You see, I've only told you half the story. Because what good is a television without anything to watch on it? Next, we're going to talk about TV shows. As of recording this part of the script, Geeke is about to hit its official launch. And no, I wasn't paid to say this, I asked its owner for permission to promote their site in order to help their cause. Geeke is a free online service that connects aspiring authors to eager readers with an amazing and easy-to-use website. Choose a book from all kinds of genres, complete with a comment system, a music mode that connects you to Spotify, and items and achievements that you can find as you read. Or if writing is more your thing, you can do it all on the website. Geeke has an easy-to-use editor that's simple and practical. The website also walks you through how to set everything up, meaning that the only work you have to do is share your story with the world. All this and a global chat that connects you to a whole community of fellow storytellers. Geeke is 100% free to use and runs off donations. I highly recommend that you try it out. Of course, I will have links to their website, YouTube channel, and Discord in this video's description. Now, let's continue. The first TV broadcast, at least that I could find, was the drama The Queen's Messenger. Released in 1928, it had just 2 actors and lasted 40 minutes. Here is the plot according to Wikipedia. A British diplomat encounters a mysterious Russian woman who is trying to obtain secret papers he is carrying in his dispatch case for the Queen. The only footage I could find was a strange clip of it, which I won't show here for copyright reasons, but it didn't show much of the story. So, unfortunately, I will not be able to go into more detail here. However, another movie was released in that same year that I could watch in full. A film with a cast so iconic it has gone down in history as a landmark in televised entertainment. It would pave the road for a whole new genre of TV shows. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dreamers of all ages, I am talking about Steamboat Willie, the first cartoon to feature the one and only Mickey Mouse. For those of you who don't know, this is the film with the iconic scene of Mickey whistling while steering a boat. Here is the plot according to Disney+, the first Mickey Mouse cartoon released, and the first cartoon with synchronized sound. As a mischievous deckhand on a riverboat, Mickey, to Minnie's delight, plays Turkey in the Straw, using various animals as its instruments. The tyrannical Captain Pete is not amused, and Mickey ends up peeling potatoes in the gallery. This isn't to say that Mickey Mouse was the first cartoon, only the first one with synchronized sound. There were many other cartoons before it, such as Felix the Cat and Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Next came the golden age of cartoons, the 30s through the 70s. These featured series like Looney Tunes, full-length movies like Snow White, and of course the already existent shorts, much like Steamboat Willie, to create an iconic picture of childhood entertainment. And these cartoons are still popular. For example, the video game Cuphead, Don't Deal with the Devil, released in 2017, took the world by storm because of its hand-drawn cartoon animation. It reminded us all of how great these shows really were. But that isn't to say that they were the only great televised entertainment. Live-action films and shows are just as, if not more, prominent. So let's go back to the 1930s. Most TV series of this time were dramas, but television also saw the appearance of game shows and sports. However, World War II greatly hindered the growth of this emerging entertainment. But after the war finally ended, the first golden age of television began. Some of its most famous shows included I Love Lucy, Gunsmoke, and The Three Stooges. Suddenly, a new industry was rapidly growing: the film industry. According to Wikipedia, the golden age seems to have ended at about 1960. but that doesn't mean that the television stopped progressing. Over the 60s and 70s, iconic shows began appearing, such as Star Trek, Gilligan's Island, The Flintstones, Scooby-Doo, and a plethora of others. And TV kept growing through the 80s and 90s until it reached another golden age. It started in the early 2000s, but nobody seems to know if it's even over yet. Cable TV is gradually losing popularity with the rise of streaming services and, of course, the internet, but it is still a massive part of today's culture, and I'm sure that I do not need to list the countless famous movies and shows of this era. Yes, they will continue to be cultural icons, but for how much longer? Alright, this is where I go from fact to speculation. I find it bizarre to imagine my descendants looking at pictures of me watching TV as I would my great-grandfather's family huddled around the radio. But where will they be getting their entertainment from? I'm not sure TV will ever fully die off. I mean, the radio is still a commonplace item to have nowadays, and I'm sure as electronics keep evolving, TV shows just might become something we watch on the way to work. Or perhaps just something for nostalgia. But what will take its place? Perhaps it will be YouTube, which might actually make sense, because YouTube is slowly becoming an industry of its own. With sponsorships and full-time content creators becoming a normal sight on the service, it's not hard to see it becoming the next television, and future generations will be full of people like us, dedicated viewers of online content. So it only makes sense that watching videos will become something that everyone does. But what will this mean for storytellers? As times change, will the tales we tell change too? Well, I think I should put it this way. The Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest written stories ever, tells of a person who is 2/3 god and 1/3 man. Over the course of his story, Gilgamesh accomplished tasks that no mere human ever could, and he remains celebrated to this day. The Epic of Superman, created in the late 20th century, is the story of a person who was actually an alien. Over the course of his story, Superman accomplished tasks that no mere man ever could, and he remains celebrated to this day. You see, the only thing that changes in these stories is the cultural context. It's the same reason that The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe began in the mid-1900s, England. That was the time and place it was written. Stories will still share the values of hope, humility, bravery, and other positive traits. In the same way, perhaps future heroes will live on Mars or abide in self-driving vehicles, but that's just as much a story as those popular today. In conclusion, my personal theory is that the future of digital entertainment just might lie in YouTube-style content, but the stories we tell will, at a core level, remain the same. So, the impact on storytellers? Reaching thousands of people with your gripping tale has never been easier. So for those of you, myself included, who sometimes worry about the future of culture and the internet, I hope that this story of television has proven at least one thing. Technology doesn't shape us. We shape technology. This has been A History of the Television by Fantastical. I hope you enjoyed it, and remember, we are all storytellers. Okay, so this video came out a long time after it was supposed to, and for that, I'm sorry. Part of it was the school year starting back up, which is always a crazy time for everyone, as well as a lot of traveling this month. But I do take full responsibility for missing my deadline. But anyways, I have some big and exciting announcements. For one, those of you who have subscribed have brought me halfway to my goal of 100 subscribers by the end of December. If I hit that goal, a friend of mine and fellow content creator called Pinguraki7 and I have agreed to go to Walmart dressed as an inflatable man, as shown on screen, and a taco. So, as much as I avoid saying it, please subscribe because I think that this would be a very fun video to make. Secondly, part of the reason that this video took so long was because I've started working on some big new projects to make Fantastical more than just an education channel. But I'm not going to reveal anything for that yet. And finally, I just got a Twitter account for better community and engagement. I'll be posting polls, discussion prompts, and other things to help me get to know you all more. Anyways, thanks again for watching, it really means a lot to me if you've gotten this far, and I will see you soon.